At this point in YouTube history, the phrase craziest drugs you've never heard of has basically become its own genre. You click the video, you hear about 3 chemicals. One of them is technically legal, another one was used by monks, and the last one is basically just meth. Cool, riveting, never heard that before. But today we're doing something different. This isn't a list of drugs your weird cousin Kyle tried once at a music festival and now won't shut up about. These are chemicals so obscure, so cursed, and so deeply unnecessary that even hardcore drug forms barely want to acknowledge they exist. Some of these were made in labs and immediately regretted. Some were found in nature and should have stayed there. And some exist solely because a scientist somewhere said, yeah, but what if we made it worse? We're talking about substances that last way too long, feel way too real, and in some cases, can permanently delete parts of your personality like it's a corrupted save file.
Mr. Epstein, open the door! Right now!
Let's begin. Pyros. Confidence so high, you argue with furniture. How many toes have you taken?
Enough to know patterns.
Like what?
Confidence before pain.
Let's talk about pyros. And no, not the TF2 flamethrower guy. Although, honestly, that might be safer. Pyros are short for pyrovalerones, a class of synthetic stimulants that make other addictive drugs look responsible. If cocaine is can't stop scrolling TikTok, pyros are haven't slept in 4 days and think the microwave is judging me.
I was gonna vacuum! I don't even have a vacuum!
What are pyros exactly? Pyros came from the same dark family tree as bath salts. You know, that whole era where news anchors kept saying, man eats drywall, police confused. Yeah, those. Chemically, pyros are stimulants. Functionally, they are crack on crack. Multiple reports describe them as 20 to 50 times more addictive than cocaine. And that's not exaggeration. That's not YouTube hype. That's people who survived it talking. Normal drugs versus pyros. Most drugs have an off switch. You get bored, you get scared. Your bank account taps you on the shoulder and says, hey man, we're done. Pyros ripped the off switch out and swallowed it. People don't stop using pyros voluntarily. They stop because the shadow people arrive, the walls start breathing, or their body pulls the plug mid-sentence. Side effects may include explaining your entire childhood trauma to a wall like it's a therapist.
So yeah, my dad wasn't really around. Not emotionally, physically too, but yeah.
Holding your phone for 20 minutes before realizing it's off.
Sir, are you planning to pay?
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Making eye contact with a shadow and losing the stare down.
Ha ha ha! You've got me this time!
Hallucinating a dad who went to get beer in 1998 and finally came back, just to tell you the wall is wired.
You left for beer.
Yeah,
It's been 26 years.
I know.
So, what do you want to say?
Don't trust that wall.
I talked to my therapist about you.
Chapter 2. The antidepressant that does the opposite. Alright, so after talking about a drug that turns your brain into a broken DVD menu for 3 hours straight, let's move on to something much more chill. An antidepressant, and before you relax, no. This is not the kind your doctor prescribes after a 12-minute conversation and a clipboard quiz.
Have you felt sad lately?
Yes.
Have you tried not doing that? That'll be $300, cash or card, and here's something to help you talk about it.
This is the kind of antidepressant that makes your brain go, yeah, let's permanently delete happiness. Meet 4CMA. Now, 4CMA isn't something you'll find behind the counter at Walgreens. It's what's known as a research chemical. And if you don't know what that means, imagine a scientist at 3 a.m. wearing pajama pants saying, okay, but what if MDMA, but worse? These things are usually created for experiments, not people. But sometimes they escape the lab. And when they do, they show up in the most cursed places imaginable. Like festival restrooms. What is 4CMA actually? Back in the 1960s, scientists were trying to make new stimulant drugs, something similar to amphetamines. More energy, more focus, more I can clean my entire apartment in one night. But 4-CMA didn't really do that. Instead, test subjects felt calmer, mildly pleasant, slightly happier. Scientists basically looked at it and said, this isn't exciting, and dropped it, which is usually where bad ideas should end. But drug dealers saw it and said, oh, this is perfect. Because here's the trick. 4-CMA is cheap, obscure, and chemically similar enough to sneak into pills without people noticing. So it started appearing in pressed tablets, often sold as MDMA, sometimes sold as something new. And nobody knew what it actually did, which is always comforting. Why it's extra dangerous. The scariest thing about 4-CMA isn't even the damage. It's that it doesn't feel that bad at first. You don't immediately panic, you don't black out, you don't see shadow demons, you just feel okay, which is exactly why people don't stop. Then weeks later, they realize, oh, I haven't felt happiness since April. Quick reality check. If someone ever says,
Bro, it's like MDMA, but smoother.
that sentence alone should trigger your survival instincts. Because real MDMA has upsides and downsides. 4-CMA somehow removed the good parts and turned the bad parts into a permanent feature. It's not super MDMA. It's MDMA's evil twin that ruins your brain and doesn't even party hard. Some drugs don't just mess with your mood. They don't just give you bad vibes. They don't just ruin your weekend. They rewrite your personality, delete your serotonin, and then gaslight you about it. We saw drugs that stretch 15 minutes into a full fake lifetime, turn your brain chemistry into confetti, make walls feel emotionally involved. And the scariest part? None of these are party drugs. These aren't for fun. These aren't for vibes. If you enjoyed this video, let me know if you want part 2, because this list gets way worse. And trust me, you haven't even seen the bottom of the iceberg yet.